And then next,
Thursday.
Sebastien
I'm
Bourdais,
thinking after yesterday.
Bonjour.
driver of number 18 Dale Coyne Racing with Sullivan Honda, four-time IndyCar champion, defending winner, St. Petersburg. Welcome.
Multiple.
What else do you have to say about it?
Nothing.
And a hell of a good guy, how about that? Talk about your excitement, looking forward to the testing the next couple days and the season in general.
I'm just excited we're going to see the sunshine. We've been blessed with weather since we started that little trip with Laguna. So yeah, no, it's good to know that the weather's going to be a little bit more cooperative tomorrow and Wednesday, and yeah, looking forward to a new season, change to another year, and got most of the guys in that winning combination from last year. So yeah, just looking forward to it. It was an interesting season for many aspects last year. We've got some good ups, and we're just trying to fix the down and just make it a little better.
And what about testing up here, next couple days at Coda? What are you looking forward to doing or seeing or accomplishing?
Yeah, I mean, it's just a personal thing. I'm not super high on those kind of tracks, meaning the Tilke tracks, where there's going to be a lot of talks on track limits, but that's just me. I think it's just a great market. It's a great facility and everything, and I just hope that I'm very excited about news coming to town and performing. That's for sure. So I think that'll be a big up. Yeah, just I think I hope that it received the same kind of welcome that F1 has received, and it's got big numbers through the gate, and we can put on a great show. I think there's all the ingredients for a successful event.
So open up for questions for Sebastien. See,
You talked about, this year making the lows not as low. Is that something you guys have worked out on the off season, talked about, put plans in place to help with that?
Yeah, I mean, I think the places where we were the least competitive were surprisingly kind of Toronto and on pace. Just the street course setup was kind of not so great. We could pull a good race together, but ultimate pace was a struggle. Long Beach kind of being a bit on a separate island, but so we've definitely tried to fix a few of those weaknesses, and then the rest, I made mistakes, which obviously you always try not to make those, but I think it was a lot of discovering with the new aero kit last year. So when you arrive at Iowa and the car is not great, then it's always tough, because you're trying to make a race car and a bit of a quali car in an hour and some change. So it's always a big challenge. But yeah, I think now obviously we have a bit of an understanding of what the car is like and what it's going to feel like to most places. There's 2 new venues this year, but it's 2 road courses, so I'm not dreading that too much, as far as just the road course setup is kind of, there's a bit of a platform, and then you can investigate things, but it's not as evil to find solution as ovals can be sometimes when you hit the track wrong. So yeah, I'm pretty happy to start the way we are, and after the winter we had, hopefully we can capitalize on a lot of good things.
When a team such as yours goes out and wins races and beats the big boys, as they call them, I mean, how much extra satisfying is that? Because you don't have all the budget that those guys do, but you get out there and get it done.
Yeah, I mean, it's we've talked about it a lot. Obviously, there's been 2 very distinct stages in my career. One where you land as a rookie in championship winning team with great structure, great people around, and lots of them. And thankfully from the owners, enough money that you don't look at the other team wishing you had this or that. And then, you know, a little excursion back in Europe, and then you come back to the States, and then you with underdog teams, and yeah, it's very different. But like you say, it's also extremely satisfying when you get it done, because you kind of know that you either overachieved or done something that not every other team is capable of. So it's extra satisfying, and obviously it takes more of the close relationships and hard work to get it done. So it's extremely satisfying.
Your last 2 months of May obviously have been pretty challenging. Has your approach to that race or to that event, the 500, changed at all going into this year, or is it just business as usual?
No, I mean, obviously 17 was kind of an oddball for me, just being as fast as we were, and me never really being in that position before, kind of trying to go for the kill a little early, I guess. And then last year we were looking good, and then the race kind of got a little complicated. I lost some positions on restart. Kind of was a bit of counter-current as far as aggression was concerned. There was a lot of people being very, very aggressive on restarts, and kind of missed the window, lost some positions. And then after that, it was so hard to pass on track that I tried to come back, and I did a little bit, but then I went to try and pass Rossi after a few tries. It felt like it was going to work out, and tricky enough that if you tried that tiny little bit too hard, it bit you pretty hard. And, I think you asked Ilio, you asked TK, you asked Danica, or most other guys like me that got caught out. I'm not quite sure you saw it coming, but that's part of the thing. So the 500 is never one race that resembles the other. Let's hope that we're not going to have another 100-degree weather for 2019, because that does not promote really hard racing. But no, as far as I'm concerned, I think I'm more comfortable with the event than I've ever been. I have more experience, and the team obviously has given me pretty good cars for the last 2 years. So hopefully we can show up and be fast again.
How big a difference would a 75-degree day have made at the 500 compared to a 95-degree day?
Well, I think it would have still been somewhat difficult to pass, but not almost impossible. So I think the action we saw on the Monday was fairly realistic of what the race could have been, and there was definitely a lot more trading of positions. So that's why kind of a few of us were hoping that there was going to be more options to adapt the downforce level to the conditions, because as you know, you lose downforce as the air thins out and warms up. So which is essentially what has happened, this year with the weakers that you guys have seen, popping on the regulation, both rear and front wing. You can rematch kind of the downforce level that you would have wanted to have in 75-degree weather. So I'm just glad that the series has kind of opened the window a little bit to give a bit more flexibility and not end up back against the wall in case you get another 100-degree day.
Well, you finished the season last year. I think it was, looking at this now, it's 4 top 6s out of the last 5. Is that when you guys started to feel like you were, talking about the consistency Steve was talking about earlier, and do you feel like that can carry into this year, or is that just something you put behind you already?
I mean, I hope. You want to do as well as you can. I think if you look back at the season and you minimize the mistakes, we were, a top 5 contender in the championship, which is pretty remarkable, given who you got to fight. Every year is different, and you hit the reset button, and all we can do is keep our heads down and do the best we can. Looking forward to the challenge. I think on performance, we had a heck of a season last year. I didn't foresee us being in that position that many times, and I think I've been maybe a bit too much of the entertainer for the last year. Wish I would have been more of the closer than the entertainer, but yeah, I guess we definitely give it our best shot and try and close the deal more often than not this year.
You've had a rotation of teammates since you've been over there at Dale Coyne, so, I mean, does that make it more difficult to improve on those weaknesses, or does that help improve the strengths just because you have more voices to kind of interact with?
Yeah, no, it's, you know, I think unfortunately ever since I've come back to IndyCar, you know, I've had a lot of different teammates and a lot of rookies, which, you know, there's nothing wrong with rookies. The thing is obviously when you're trying to go and build something, it's tough because they're going to tracks that they've never been before, the weekends go fast, and yeah, it's tough to make improvements based off of that, and consistency is always a really good thing. So it's essentially been a one-car team for as long as I can, you know, remember ever since I've come back, and that's fine. But for sure, you know, when you're fighting against big powerhouse like, you know, Andretti or Penske or you know, Scott's been a bit on his own as well, because, you know, when it was TK, they had two different driving styles, so they really didn't feed off of each other. But you know, they have quite a bit more resources, so it's a bit different still. But yeah, for me, yeah, I've kind of done my own thing, been on my own island, and yeah, sometimes it's good to be able to look at a couple of data and see something different. I think Santino, obviously having a few races under his belt from 18, will definitely have a bit more of a voice, and I think it's probably going to surprise a few people, because I think he's definitely got quite a bit of talent, and yeah, we'll see how that shakes out. But I don't really expect him to help me so much either, because he's got a very different driving style. So it'll be plenty quick, but I'm not sure we'll be able to learn much from each other.
From the tracks that are on the schedule this year to the 8 network races to the car, the buzz, is this as good a season as you can ever remember being a part of, potentially?
This year? No.
This year.
This year. Yeah, I mean, I think the density is very high. The cars are obviously extremely racy on street course and road course. There's a few tweaks for the super speedway, which I really hope that is going to promote better racing. I think there's just kind of maximizing the strengths of the series on every aspect, and yeah, I think there's a lot of very good things, you know, that's happened over the last couple of years, and yeah, most everybody's excited about it. I don't recall it being that competitive really ever. When you look at the gaps, you look at the drivers, the teams, the number of good cars, the events. I think it's going to be a heck of a season for sure.
One more question?
Have you got a chance to see or talk to Robbie much this offseason, and you've been following his progress on Twitter, seeing all these videos he's posted and things like that?
Yeah, we stopped by and went to see him in November with the family, and yeah, I mean, he's working really hard, and you know, I think everybody's acknowledging, and you know, that he's a force to be reckoned with, and you know, we all hope and wish him that he'll be back, you know, full tilt as soon as possible. It's obviously a big, there's a lot of big unknowns, but he's giving his best shot, so it's pretty inspiring. But yeah, it's also tough to see him like that.
Thank you very much, sir.
No worries.
Thank you.
Appreciate